Well, good morning, loved ones. I want to share with you a thought that I came across yesterday in my reading. And that thought simply says this, that if you want to see what is important to people, all you have to do is watch the direction in which they move. This is something that is true for little children. It's true of little children as soon as they are able to walk. As soon as they are able to walk in the direction that they want to walk, whenever they want to move in that direction, you begin to see the things that are important to them, the things that they value, the things that fascinate them, the things that they hold near and dear to their hearts. It could be a cookie jar. It might be mom. It's probably mom. It might be dad. It could be a favorite toy. It could be any toy that some other kid in the house has. It might be an electric socket. But as soon as children are able to control their movement, they move in the directions of the things that fascinate them, that they love, that they're passionate about, that they value. And that really never stops through the course of our lives. That as we grow into teenagers, as we move on to adulthood, we pursue the things that are important to us. We move in the directions of the things that we want, that we value, that we think will be helpful to us. And what was true of us when we were children and what is true of us still, I think we can see it in the life of Jesus Christ. That when we watch Jesus Christ's movements, the places he went, the direction he took, the paths he chose, we see played out before us a demonstration of what's on the heart of God and particularly, specifically, what is in his heart. Philippians chapter 2, verse 6 and 7 read this way, speaking of Jesus Christ, who though he was in the form of God, did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped, but he emptied himself by taking the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of men. And so what we have here is we see Jesus moving from heaven to earth in pursuit of something he valued, something that was important to us, and it was important to him, and that is us. He came from heaven, found himself, took himself to earth that he might be amongst us, and being amongst us, he might demonstrate for us who God is, and in demonstrating for us who God is, he would show us who we are, and in that visible look, we would see that we need him, and he came because we needed him. He came to supply us the things that we need. And one of those interesting things as you look at Jesus throughout the Gospels is that you see he seems to prioritize the least. He seems to prioritize those who are marginalized. He seems to prioritize those who are particularly needy. It could be said that if you were running around Israel in the time of Jesus' life and you wanted to find Jesus, you had to look to the marginalized. You had to look to those everybody else looked past. And there you would find Jesus. You would find Jesus amongst those who are not respected, amongst children, amongst those who are not of particularly great reputation. He was known as a friend of sinners. Oh, it's awful. But he pursued sinners because sinners had a particular need. You could say, if you want to find Jesus, you had to find him amongst the least of these. When John the Baptist was in prison and he was discouraged about, I've placed my life banking on the fact that Jesus Christ is the prophet who was to come, is the Messiah. But he was discouraged, and so he sent his followers to speak to Jesus, asking Jesus this question, are you the one to come, or should we look for another? And here's how Jesus confirmed to John that he was the prophesied Messiah. He is, in fact, the one to come. Here's how Jesus comforted John. In Luke chapter 7, verse 22, and Jesus answered them, these are John's followers, go and tell John what you have seen and heard. The blind receive their sight. The lame walk. Lepers are cleansed. The deaf here. The dead are raised up, and the poor have the good news preached to them. So, what was the confirmation that Jesus was the one who was prophesied to come? He was hanging out with those who were particularly needy, and he was taking care of them. Where is Jesus amongst us today? He is near to those who are broken in heart, who are wounded in spirit. He is reaching out to them through you and through me, letting them know what is important to him, what he holds near and dear to his heart, what fascinates him, what compels him to move. And what compels Jesus to move is the need of the people he created in his image. He came to heal. Be encouraged by this today, loved ones.